Shadowing English Bible, Matthew chapter 5.
Chapter 5. The Sermon on the Mount.
The Sermon on the Mount.
One day, as he saw the crowds gathering,
One day, as he saw the crowds gathering,
Jesus went up on the mountainside and sat down.
Jesus went up on the mountainside and sat down.
His disciples gathered around him,
His disciples gathered around him,
and he began to teach them
and he began to teach them
the Beatitudes.
the Beatitudes. The Beatitudes.
God blesses those who are poor and realize their need for him.
God blesses those who are poor and realize their need for Him.
For the kingdom of heaven is theirs.
For the kingdom of heaven is theirs.
God blesses those who mourn,
God blesses those who mourn,
for they will be comforted.
for they will be comforted.
God blesses those who are humble,
God blesses those who are humble,
for they will inherit the whole earth.
for they will inherit the whole earth.
God blesses those who hunger and thirst for justice,
God bless those who hunger and thirst for justice,
for they will be satisfied.
for they will be satisfied.
God blesses those who are merciful,
God blesses those who are merciful,
for they will be shown mercy.
for they will be shown mercy.
God blesses those whose hearts are pure, for they will see God.
God blesses those whose hearts are pure, for they will see God.
God blesses those who work for peace,
God blesses those who work for peace,
for they will be called the children of God.
for they will be called the children of God.
God blesses those who are persecuted for doing right,
God blesses those who are persecuted for doing right,
for the kingdom of heaven is theirs.
for the kingdom of heaven is theirs.
God blesses you when people mock you and persecute you and lie about you and say all sorts of evil things against you because you are my followers.
God bless you when people mock you and persecute you and lie about you and say all sorts of evil things against you because you are my followers.
Be happy about it.
Be happy about it.
Very glad.
Be very glad.
For a great reward awaits you in heaven.
For a great reward awaits your heaven.
And remember, the ancient prophets were persecuted in the same way.
And remember, the ancient prophets were persecuted in the same way.
Teaching about salt and light.
Teaching about salt and light.
You are the salt of the earth.
You are the salt of the earth.
But what good is salt if it has lost its flavor?
But what good is salt if it has lost its flavor?
Can you make it salty again?
Can you make it salt again?
It will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless.
It will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless.
You are the light of the world.
You are the light of the world.
Like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden.
Like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden.
No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. And
No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket.
instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where
Instead, a lamp is placed on stand
it gives light to everyone in the house.
where it gives light to everyone in the house.
In the same way,
In the same way,
let your good deeds shine out for all to see.
let your good deeds shine out for all to see,
So that everyone will praise your heavenly Father.
so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father.
Teaching about the law.
Teaching about the law.
Don't misunderstand why I have come.
Don't misunderstand why I have come.
Did not come to abolish the law of Moses or
I did not come to abolish the law of Moses
the writings of the prophets.
or the writings of the prophets.
No, I came to accomplish their purpose.
No, I came to accomplish their purpose.
I tell you the truth. Until heaven and earth disappear,
I tell you the truth. Until heaven and earth disappear,
not even the smallest detail of God's law will disappear until its purpose is achieved.
not even the smallest detail of God's law will disappear until its purpose is achieved.
So if you ignore the least commandment and teach others to do the same,
So if you ignore the least commandment and teach others to do the same,
you will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
you will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
But anyone who obeys God's laws and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
But everyone who obeys God's laws and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
But I warn you, unless your righteousness is better than the righteousness of the teachers of religious law,
unless your righteousness is better than the righteousness of the teachers of religious law
and the Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven.
You will never enter the kingdom of heaven.
Teaching about anger.
Teaching about anger.
You have heard that our ancestors were told,
You have heard that our ancestors were told,
you must not murder.
you must not murder.
If you commit murder,
If you commit murder,
you are subject to judgment.
you are subject to judgment.
But I say, if you are even angry with someone,
But I say, if you are even angry with someone,
you are subject to judgment.
you are subject to judgment.
If you call someone an idiot,
If you call someone an idiot,
you are in danger of being brought before the court.
you are in danger of being brought before the court.
And if you curse someone,
if you curse someone,
you are in danger of the fires of hell.
you are in danger of the fires of hell.
So if you are presenting a sacrifice at
So if you are presenting a sacrifice
the altar in the temple and you suddenly remember that someone has something against you,
at the altar in the temple and you suddenly remember that someone has something against you,
leave your sacrifice there at the altar.
leave your sacrifice there at the altar.
Go and be reconciled to that person.
Go and be reconciled to the person.
Then come and offer your sacrifice to God.
Then come and offer your sacrifice to God.
When you are on the way to court with your adversary,
When you are on the way to court with your adversary,
settle your differences quickly.
settle your differences quickly.
Otherwise, your accuser may hand you over to the judge.
Otherwise, your accuser may hand you over to the judge,
Who will hand you over to an officer.
who will hand you over to an officer,
And you will be thrown into prison.
and you will be thrown into prison.
And if that happens, you
And if that happens,
surely won't be free again until you have paid the last penny.
you surely won't be free again until you have paid the last penny.
Teaching about adultery.
Teaching about adultery.
You have heard the commandment that says,
You have heard the commandment that says,
you must not commit adultery.
You must not commit adultery.
But I say, anyone who even looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart.
Anyone who even looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart.
So if your eye, even your good eye, causes you to lust,
causes you to lust,
gouge it out and throw it away.
Gouge it out and throw it away.
It is better for you to lose one part of your body
It is better for you to lose one part of your body
than for your whole body to be thrown into hell.
than for your whole body to be thrown into hell.
And if your hand, even your stronger hand, causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away.
Causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away.
It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell.
It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell.
Teaching about divorce.
Teaching about divorce.
You have heard the law that says, a man can divorce his wife by merely giving her a written notice of divorce.
A man can divorce his wife by merely giving her a written notice of divorce.
But I say that a man who divorces his wife unless she has been unfaithful,
unless she has been unfaithful,
causes her to commit adultery.
causes her to commit adultery.
And anyone who marries a divorced woman also commits adultery.
And anyone who marries a divorced woman also commits adultery.
Teaching about vows.
Teaching about vows.
You have also heard that our ancestors were told
You have also heard that our ancestors were told,
you must not break your vows.
you must not break your vows.
You must carry out the vows you make to the Lord.
You must carry out the vows you make to the Lord.
But I say, do not make any vows.
But I say, do not make any vows.
Do not say by heaven, because
Do not say by heaven,
heaven is God's throne. And
because heaven is God's throne.
do not say by the
And do not say by the earth,
because the earth is his footstool. And
because the earth is his footstool.
And do not say
And do not say
by Jerusalem,
by Jerusalem,
for Jerusalem is the city of the great king.
for Jerusalem is the city of the great king.
Do not even say
Do not even say by my heart,
my head, for you can't turn one hair white or black.
By my head, for you can't turn one hair white or black.
Just say a simple yes I will or no I won't.
Just say a simple yes I will or no I won't.
Anything beyond this is from the evil one.
Anything beyond this is from the evil one.
Teaching about revenge.
Teaching about revenge.
You have heard the law that says the punishment must match the injury, and
You have heard the law that says the punishment must match the injury.
Eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
But I say, do not resist an evil person.
But I say, do not resist an evil person.
If someone slaps you on the right cheek, offer.
If someone slaps you on the right cheek,
for the other cheek also.
Or for the other cheek also.
If you are sued in court and your shirt is taken from you.
If you are sued in court and your shirt is taken from you.
Give your coat too.
Give your coat too.
If a soldier demands that you carry his gear for a mile, carry it 2 miles.
If a soldier demands that you carry his gear for a mile, carry it 2 miles.
Give to those who ask, and
give to those who ask.
Don't turn away from those who want to borrow.
And don't turn away from those who want to borrow.
Teaching about love for enemies.
Teaching about love for enemies.
You have heard the law that says love.
You have heard the law that says
love your neighbor.
Love your neighbor.
And hate your enemy. But I say love your enemies.
But I say love your enemies.
Pray for those who persecute you.
Pray for those who persecute you.
In that way, you will
In that way,
be acting as true children of your Father in heaven.
in that way, you will be acting as true children of your Father in heaven.
For he gives his sunlight to both the evil and the good.
For he gives his sunlight to both the evil and the good,
And he sends rain on the just and the unjust alike.
and he sends rain on the just and the unjust alike.
If you love only those who love you, what reward is there for that?
If you love only those who love you, what reward is there for that?
Even corrupt tax collectors do that much.
Even corrupt tax collectors do that much.
If you are kind only to your friends,
If you are kind only to your friends,
how are you different from anyone else?
how are you different from anyone else?
Even pagans do that.
Even pagans do that,
But you are to be perfect,
but you are to be perfect,
even as your Father in heaven is perfect.
even as your Father in heaven is perfect.